Hey guys, this isn't your normal. This is only a test. It's dads. We have a bunch of them.
I'm a dad.
You're a dad. How long have you been a dad, Dave Snyder?
8 months? Yeah.
April, May,
8.
June, July, August, September,
We
October,
do like
November. Almost 9.
Yeah, we do like simple math between the two of us.
Yeah, I'm 11.
You're close.
I'm +3.
Yeah.
Jeff Green.
Hi, I'm a dad. I've been a dad for 19 years.
That's a long time.
A lot of months.
Did you get to see your daughter over Thanksgiving? This is the week
I
after
did.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I did. She told me over Thanksgiving that I realized that this entire last year I've been saying to everybody, including myself, that she's 18. She's actually 19, and she's about to be 20.
Wow.
So which was weird. I don't think that was like a senility thing. I think it was a total denial thing.
I can see
I
that.
don't want her to be out of her teens.
Yeah, we're coming up on a year, and like I don't want that to happen because she's starting to be mobile, and I mean she's not starting to be. She's mobile as hell now, and like I can't just get her to lay down on top of me and sleep. If your baby still does that, enjoy it.
No. I don't think she ever really did that. She did that maybe the first 2 months.
Oh, really? No, but no.
All over the place.
Mobility is a trade-off, right?
There's pros and cons. The nice thing is that I put her on the ground and I say, "Hey, come on, let's go in the kitchen." She just follows me.
Right.
It's great.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man, that I'm looking forward
Sometimes
to.
you have to like peek around the corner and be like, "Come on," and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, I like you. You're the one that's not the food, but the other one."
But she's crawling.
Crawling.
Not walking.
She's pulling up, and she'll stand on things, and she lets go,
Oh, wow.
but only for a split second. Like she'll maybe do 2 seconds, let go, and kind of
She's testing it out.
neo the wobble, and then grab back on.
I can place mine like an action figurine.
Really?
Like,
You can pose her
I just put her there and she'll stay.
sitting
Can you
or
move her
standing.
arms around in certain positions, like
Sure.
an action figure?
Does she have kung fu
Yeah.
grip?
Yeah.
She can do that, and, she'll do the little wobbly thing.
The wobbly thing is good.
But
It's like you have a drunk baby.
Yeah.
that's about all I got right now. I'm very excited, though, that I can, like, place her. I feel that was a big step.
The verticality.
Just being able to, like, here you go. Why don't you? I'm going to go to the other side of the room. I've got my eye on you, but you're going to stay right there where I put you.
That doesn't last long.
I know, but it's nice right now.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'll tell you a cautionary tale. When my daughter started walking,
This is a story of child abuse.
well, not
Neglect.
quite. Maybe neglect. Well, it was just a learning moment. That's what it was. I was at Cody's, now the defunct Cody's Books in Berkeley on Telegraph Avenue.
Okay.
And I was paying for a book. I was at the counter, and my daughter was with me, and she had just started to walk. But in my head, it was basically like what you just said. Like I knew I could like leave her somewhere, and she wouldn't go away. So the last thing I knew, she was playing with like the velvet rope from the line right directly behind me. I pay for the book. I turn around, and she's gone.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Nowhere to be found. And the cashier is right by the entrance, of course, which was on Telegraph Avenue, which is, kind of a slightly shady street in Berkeley. And I immediately just completely freaked out. It's like, I lost my fucking daughter. I lost her.
That's the kind of thing that your wife is not going to be okay
And
with.
you know what? That's the funniest thing in retrospect. The thing I was most worried about was what I was going to say to my wife, as opposed to the fact that I've lost a human being. I was like, oh God, I lost our daughter. Like, I was worried about being yelled at rather than my child's.
I've seen too many
existence.
movies. I immediately thought when he's like, she disappeared in a bookstore, I was like, she jumped into one of those books and is having a magical adventure.
Oh, see, that'd be
See, I
fucking
was sitting
great.
taken. I was like,
I
she's
would
in
encourage
Friends,
that.
and
She's with a giant hairy dog that
If
flies.
that happened,
That's amazing.
that'd be fucking amazing.
through a wardrobe.
So what? Yeah. So I ran outside. I asked like the street vendors, like, "Do you see a little redheaded girl walking down the street?"
God.
And I went up to the cashiers. I was like, "I lost my daughter." And by now, my face is like pale white. And they like closed the doors and they did the announcement over the broadcast system. And she had wandered all the way to the back of the store and was sitting on the floor, looking at poetry books, which she couldn't read. She had just like grabbed
good covers.
So I'm up at the front.
box cutters.
So basically, another guy, a grown-up guy, came around the corner, with her on his lap, and she's just like waving. She's all happy. She has no clue what's going on.
And you've broken down mentally inside.
Yeah, and I didn't tell my wife right away either because I didn't want to confess I lost my kid. But really, I was like, holy shit! Like I had no idea she could get out of my sight that fast. Like it was a real wake-up call for me.
So Yeah, I haven't lost her in public, but we have a small house, and you would think that you wouldn't be able to lose the child in the house, but she goes and she likes to get behind the sofa and like under the end tables and all that stuff. So she'll shoot between the sofa and a chair and disappear. Like you turn around to yell at the dog or go to the door, and she's So I can imagine how
it's
fast
something else
she
to worry about
disappears.
in your life. You sort of don't realize it at first. Once they're moving and doing things,
Well, and they get injured a lot more when they're moving.
I have to worry about
Yes.
headbutts.
Headbutts are bad.
Absolutely.
Lots of this.
The thing I notice is if you look at them like, are you going to cry? Then they'll start crying. Like you've given them permission.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of go like, you're okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Don't need to cry.
But sometimes when like you look at them, you're like, oh shit, you totally need to cry.
Oh
now.
yeah.
That's
There's that
never
moment
good.
where it's coming no matter what you do.
Well, so Gina left, went to the grocery store on Saturday while I was like had all of the entertainment center stuff out and was plugging in consoles and stuff a couple of weeks ago, and so I have the baby on the other side, and I'm like, okay, baby's playing. I can like plug 2 things in, and then go back to the baby, and then plug a couple more things in, then go back to the baby. And at some point, I was just like, fuck this. I'm not going to get anything. I'm just going to play with the baby now. And so she's sitting on my lap, crawling over. I'm paying full attention, like 100% total attention. She crawls up on my lap, and then immediately does a header off the far side.
God.
And like part of the problem with teaching her, like we spend in the morning, we get in bed and everybody gets in bed and she nurses and then she kind of crawls around, and it's a good place to learn how to crawl because when she wipes out, she's on the bed. Like the worst thing she can hit is my knee. She's taken those, hey, the floor doesn't hurt skills and applied them to the real world. And it was really like she had a big knot, and I was like, oh shit, I got to tell Gina that I've broken the baby. And so, yeah, that was bad.
That happens.
It happens.
Those bruises are part of
She
the
was
bumps
fine,
on the head.
ultimately.
Yeah. I'll tell you though that like the age she's at now through say 4 are really hard. They're fun because all the different ages are fun. They're all their own experiences. But for me, that part was really tough because they can't play by themselves yet, really. And once they get interactive enough that like they want their brain to be occupied and they want to either be playing or doing things, like you are totally the
you're
entertainment
full-time.
committee.
Yep.
That's all you get
I'm
to
a
do.
television.
Yeah.
In absence of the television.
Yes.
We talked about this.
Did we talk about the television?
Yeah, about avoidance of screens.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yes. Which means
We're
that
still
you are
going
the
well.
television.
Yeah.
So are we.
I occasionally bust out the magic piano and let her bang on the iPad. She likes.
Oh.
That's smart.
It's like a full screen piano, so like one side is high notes and one side is low notes, and top to bottom is louder, but it's just black. So she just
that's nice.
whacks it with her hand, and it makes good noises. She gets really excited, and then she throws the iPad off the bed usually. So that's expensive, I guess. But
Yeah. Well, you work in this biz.
so we had some medical stuff. Last time we did the podcast, I got the text from the wife that was like, "Hey, can you come to meet me at the doctor? We're going to the
that's
doctor
right.
right now."
Right.
So that was a fun 2 months.
2 months? What happened?
So she started throwing up like projectile vomiting every like minute and a half or 2 minutes.
I think I talked to you the next day, and you said she was like fine, but it must have gone farther.
Well, so we went to the doctor, and the first doctor was like, "Oh, she probably just has the flu. Don't worry about it." And then it happened again, so we went back to the doctor again. This time we saw our actual pediatrician instead of just like the other person at the practice who has no connection to us, and doesn't realize that we're pretty good about not overreacting so far. And she was like, "Oh, what color was the vomit?" And Gina said, "Oh, it was yellow." And then the shit stopped. Like the doctor went from like asking casual questions to like, "Wait, what color yellow?" And we drilled down into like, is it this color yellow or that color yellow? Blah 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 blah. And so then we got to go and do a whole bunch of tests with the baby, which is always good. So like the blood tests and urine tests, collecting urine from a baby, by the way. It's a fun challenge.
I do it all the time, but it's not planned.
No, that's the problem. Is like when you want to not be peed on, like when you're walking from the changing table to the tub, every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you need to collect 2 ounces of pee, and you have a baby laying on a table held down by one parent and the other parent with a cup ready to catch. This is one place where boys have an advantage, I guess.
Yeah.
Like she completely clams up no pee.
Give her cranberry juice. Or
We
something?
did everything. We like at one point Gina's dangling over the table in the doctor's office with a boob out. The baby's nursing.
Oh my God.
So we did that. We did that once and got a catch, but it wasn't clean, and we had to do it again. And then they have this little thing that they glue on. It's like a Ziploc bag with sticky stuff around the side, and you glue it around the business parts of the baby. And then she pees and it catches it.
Whoa.
It was really, really
like
weird.
a splash guard, kind of.
Kind of like a splash guard. Yeah, like a cup, but with a little
Right.
little hose at the bottom. And then we had to do a catheter, which was awful.
What?
Man, this is rough.
To get a clean urine specimen. And then we had to do ultrasounds because they were worried. So when they have bilious vomiting, which is what this was called, they worry that there's a whole bunch of things that cause that, and then there's a couple of things that cause it that are no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the only way to figure out that it's the thing that is no problem that causes it is to rule out all the really scary stuff like liver failure.
Yeah.
And so we had to do a bunch of blood work, the urinalysis, the sonogram of the stomach and intestines. That was great.
It's like a maze that you drew in like third grade.
It was like a flow chart. You just keep going down the holes.
So how did she hold up during all that?
So the sonogram was, she eventually just kind of like, I had a real parenting superstar moment there when we're in the dark room. It's like late at night because of course we were at the fucking emergency room or something. And I just kind of like baby whispered her to sleep. I was
Nice.
just like, did the synchronized breathing and the shh. And she just zonked out. And the tech was like, I've never seen this before. This is amazing.
That's awesome.
And then I tried to do it the next time we had to do the sonogram. No fucking chance. So it was a one time only deal. We had to do a swallow study where she drinks barium formula, and they do like a bunch of little super fast X-rays to get pictures of her digestive tract in action.
Wild.
Because they were worried that it was either twisting or there was a flap of skin over the exit from the stomach or something like that.
Well, all these tests and stuff were going on. Was she still throwing up, or like
Threw up
was it
twice
just a
the whole
scare?
time. No, just twice. 2 bad times. But yeah. And then after 2 months of this, 2.5 months of this, clean bill of health. So,
Nice.
Well,
so
that's
it
good.
all ends up
Happy ending.
okay. But during this whole time, we were supposed to not be more than 20 or 30 minutes from a hospital. We live in the deep part of Pacifica, which means it's almost impossible to be at our house and be less than 20 minutes
You should get,
from a
instead of
hospital.
those like maps where it's like, hey, I've been in this state,
Oh,
this
dude.
state. You should just get like a periodic table and some pins, and it's like this has all been in your body.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah,
Super-
barium, xenon.
Yeah, sure. Super,
Right,
super
exactly.
science kid.
I figure she'd either be an awesome mutant at the end of this or,
What would you want? What would you, if you were to give
That's a
Mutant
great
your
baby.
question.
daughter a mutant power, like what would you think would be beneficial?
Can we do DC powers or does it have to be Marvel like mutants?
I think any universe is
Yeah,
right.
you
right.
just. Well, you did say mutant.
I did say
So-
mutant.
Oh.
Maybe the Blob?
Wait.
No,
She's
she can have her
unstoppable.
own. She doesn't have to be
she
an
can have her own?
existing X-Men.
Oh, okay.
She could be a new mutant.
I don't know. Well, you go first, Jeff. Your daughter's oldest. You know her personality.
It's
you know
harder
it
when
fits.
she's that old.
She radioactive spider bite.
It would not be telepathy.
No, that seems like a
Yeah.
real curse. And those people
Yeah,
always go
That'd be
crazy.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want them to know what you're thinking. That's the power advantage. You need that.
I kind of think super speed's pretty good. Like Flash level super speed.
All right.
It's underrated as a superpower.
What would whatever power would allow her to let me retire?
So you want her to be independently wealthy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I want her
And
power to be.
generous at the
She
same
can-
time.
She can manipulate the stock market.
There you go. That's it.
She can see 6 seconds into the future.
Sarah, do I sell?
Who's going to win this football game? Quick, I got to get the bet in. Yeah. Yeah, that's the 6 seconds in the future is a good one.
That'd be great.
I think maybe.
I'd just give her like Ant-Man strength. Like then you wouldn't have to worry. Like she gets hit by a truck or something.
That'd
she'd
be cool.
fine.
So Ant-Man's strength is like literally he's like a human-sized ant.
Well, he could. Well, he was also able
can-
to change size, so she could become Barbarella or something. But I don't think I need that.
Huh.
But
It'd be cool to
I
have
would
an enormous
I think
baby, though.
Super strength, regular physique, that'd be fine. I think that'd be great.
It would help them
Anybody
with
gives her any
guys
shit,
too.
she just
Right. For
Yeah.
women especially,
Yeah.
girls, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Then you'd feel like she's safe everywhere she goes.
Yeah,
Right.
she could beat up all the Russians in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Be great.
But I mean, I don't think I'd send my daughter to the Russian Olympics. They seem kind of scary.
The new ones.
Don't Russian Olympics. Don't fuck with them. What's going on in Dave Snyder's world?
I I don't know.
You had any baby excitement?
Baby
Anything
stuff's
happen?
all been. It's all been pretty normal.
She's sleeping good?
She's kind of on and off. We're bad though because we tried to put her together a little early so that we have some time together.
Yeah.
So we put her down around 7:30.
I thought you were going to say noon.
No. So she's in one of her phases right now, which is not fun. The bad part that we have too now is our dog is also mirroring a weird phase where he is just barking at anything at specifically like twice a night. And then that will lead to you get this double thing where like when you get the baby who yells, screams, you're like, was it just one? Are we
just one?
Like,
is okay.
Do we have to get up? So
Yeah.
now we've got the dog who does that, and then we're like, was it just one? And then you'll hear the dog bark again, and then that'll cascade into the baby, and then you'll hear the one there. And in reality, we should have learned all this, and that we should have just. You get up as early as possible to stop the eventual problem.
Yeah.
But no, it's
You can't.
Once
do
you're
that.
in bed,
it's normally like 30 minutes late.
Yeah. You just let her cry for. But I mean,
well, once you're in bed, it's hard to want to get up.
Yeah.
Right.
well, but and like getting up is like if you get up on that first cry, second cry, you totally fuck yourself in the long term because then all you do is teach them that all they have to do is squawk and they get a parent.
Yeah,
like they're
exactly.
Like both of our daughters are at the age now that if we fuck this up, they actually learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
So
No, and we've been doing that stuff. That was a lot easier. It wasn't that hard for me. It was harder for Nicole, but going through the sleep training.
you just
stuff,
put your
we
headphones
put
on,
them
went back to
down.
Dota or something, right?
We were terrible with Sarah. I
What?
mean, we really were suckers. Like we gave in all the time, and she cried a lot, and we were softies. And in the end, we had people at the time tell us like, don't do that. And we tried. We didn't like run in the second she cried once, but we almost always gave in. And in the end, I don't feel like it was necessarily a bad thing.
She turned out okay. I mean, she only got into Columbia, but
Well, the thing that I know, I don't know if it's because of this or not, but what she has that I certainly didn't have at her age is like she's very secure. Like she's very confident, and I partially think this is not like to do any self-congratulations because God knows I was winging it just like we all do, but I sort of feel like we gave her she knows we're there, like she always knows we're there, like there's no security issue.
well, and the thing that we've found from cruelly mistreating our child,
Right.
is that like there's a definite tone in crying. And like
Yeah.
immediately when it's a bad cry,
That's true.
and when it's not a bad cry, you just you're like, oh well, give her 5 minutes, and if she works
You're
this out,
right.
then it's great,
Yeah.
and if not, then we'll go in and pick her up and bring her
sometimes
out
it's
and-
anger, right? I mean, they don't have words yet, so sometimes it's basically just "fuck you, get me out of this crib."
Well,
you
Yeah, or I poop my pants, assholes, come change that. I
right?
don't wanna
And,
lay in
and those
that.
are legit.
yeah.
But if we just heard her over there like having a spaz for whatever reason, we would let her cry it out.
You get like lots of fun positions where you find the kid in the crib.
Yeah, the flail.
Like cried themselves to sleep and
Well, yeah, just weird.
Yeah.
Like somehow bounced into the weird corner with like both legs out.
Yeah, the
You're like
arm-
you can't even turn out of there. Like, how would you get out?
She got stuck with the arm in the crib a lot, like real when she first started moving around, and now she knows. Like she's learned, hey, I shouldn't put my arm through these holes because like I could get really fucked here.
it's good that she's learning.
Yeah, it's surprising how quickly she learns stuff. Actually.
So you use a monitor still?
Oh yeah.
See, we stopped using the monitor probably after the second month. We have not used a monitor.
Did you do video or audio?
We
You only-
do neither. We
but
had
when you
just
did,
audio.
you just did audio. So our house is tiny. Like there's legitimately no reason we need to use a monitor unless we want to like watch a movie and have it up loud enough that it might drown out. The other thing we have is that the dog is super attuned to the baby at all times. So she's had let's just go. She's had diarrhea for the last week, which is pretty awful.
The dog?
No, the baby. I wish the dog. I can just send her in the backyard and let her shit herself.
It's
hose her
probably
off.
better the baby.
The first few days of the baby are better, but long term, the dog is a better diarrhea
What are you
choice.
feeding her? What are you giving her?
She's eating human food. She ate Thanksgiving. We didn't give her butt
Turkey?
stuffing. Yeah, we gave her turkey.
Did you mash it up or something?
No, she just eats chunks.
Wow.
Yeah, because we pureed it, and it was the grossest
that
thing.
sounds terrible.
She ate it. She had a little 3-course meal of like sweet potatoes, pureed turkey, and I can't remember what the third one was. Cranberries.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
So we made a full-on like baby plate. Like it had stuff. We didn't do butt stuffing because there's some bacteria risk there.
Sure.
We gave her normal stuffing. She had sweet potatoes. She had. I mean, our doctor once she turned 9 months was like, no, she can eat anything you eat except for raw honey, soft unpasteurized cheeses, and like 2 other things that I don't remember.
Raw honey.
Like unpasteurized honey.
All right.
Yeah, she's not. They're not supposed to eat that until they're 1 for whatever reason.
Got to give up that hobby. Got to put your smoker away.
I know. She, so she ate an enormous. She's eating an enormous amount of food right now, which could have to do with the volume of poop that's coming out. But and she's super into it. Like we just at this point, she eats some stuff pureed still. Like she eats lentils and stuff for lunch sometimes that we spoon to her. But she's much happier if we just throw some food out on the tray and let her shovel. And she gets going with both hands and scraping it up and just
Nice.
She doesn't have good motor control, so she just jams her whole fist in her mouth and then scrapes with the tongue. No teeth. yet
That's how
either.
we would like to eat if there were no social restrictions.
We can have a party if you want, Jeff. I mean, I'm down with that.
Because the silverware
Troughs.
stuff is just, we had to learn that.
Yeah.
I don't think if we were just by ourselves.
Well, what was it? The fork was invented last. The spoon was the earliest of the inventions. Maybe the knife was
I
before
like
that.
this
probably.
trough idea. I'm now thinking of a restaurant in my head.
With a trough.
troughs?
where they
That's
just give you
fucking
like a
brilliant.
little, where it'd just be like a planter, like one of those small planters that you put on the side of railings. Give you one of those.
Window box.
Yeah, just throw something in there.
It's kind of like a Mongolian barbecue.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how I treat my Mongolian barbecue. Just keep the food coming.
We're still, the only thing that she's gotten that's close to that solid yet is there are those, whatever those special Cheerios, where they're like, oh, you don't choke on these.
Oh, the Cheerios have
They
the
taste
O's.
gross.
They have
So-
special Cheerios?
Yeah, they're basically like, oh yeah, you've seen babies eat Cheerios before, but these are not real Cheerios because apparently they might be able to choke on them or
Some
something.
babies eat real Cheerios.
Yeah, no, I know.
So that's the baby's plate of food.
Look at that face.
I know.
That face.
She knows.
She is looking at that
Yeah.
food. And she's like, "Why are you
Man.
not?"
Yeah.
When we were eating Thanksgiving, she would watch Gina, and when Gina would take a moment to like stop feeding her so she could have a bite, she would look at her and make that face. The what the fuck woman make with the food.
Keep
How
it
long
coming.
is that chair gonna last? That's a good looking chair. But
That's-
my immediate concern with it is, so if you're listening along, it's like a hanger chair.
Yeah, it hangs
Where you
on
put
the
it on, it
arms.
clips onto the end.
Yeah.
But like everything that I look at now, I'm like, man, am I buying this for 2 or 3 months? Like how long? What can I get out of this?
So we had 2 kids, and that's the one that we use when we go back east to see my parents. So we don't have to have a real high chair there.
Right.
So
you have a real high chair as well?
Yeah, we got the OXO real high chair because it upgrades into a
Oxo. I don't know
what that
the
is
brand
either.
name.
It's an OXO.
It's an actual ox
Dude.
that the child sits on.
I'm going to go ahead and
That'd
tell
be
you.
cool.
This is the other thing that happened. That's
Yeah.
a Brad
Oh,
Shoemaker eating
yeah,
a
Brad.
turkey
Brad
leg.
Shoemaker.
Yeah, he just picked up the turkey leg and started
Right.
gnawing on it.
That's how it should be done.
The OXO one we got because it upgrades. It's like I usually think the upgrading, hey, you can use this thing like the cribs. This will turn into a kid bed. Total horse shit. You're never gonna do
Turns
that.
into a Autobot.
Yeah.
Like here's a small car that your child can now
Exactly.
get.
Like as soon as they're big enough to use a real bed,
Yes.
I'm not gonna want her sleeping in an Autobot. I'm gonna give her a real bed.
Yeah.
Right.
With the high chair, we did because like I figure she'll sit in that for 4 years probably, all told.
4 years.
So like now it has like a crotch pole so that she can't slide out the bottom. Eventually, I'll move the crotch pole out and it'll be like a regular chair that's just taller than everybody else.
Now I'm just thinking about giving my kid an Autobot and how awesome that would be to have like your own personal
like Autobot child,
car because it could drive her places.
like Bumblebee.
Yeah,
that'd be
it could.
nice.
It could be like daycare and transportation. At
not
the
a bad
same
idea.
That is
time.
smart.
It's not a bad idea.
And it would be the one that looks like an EMT vehicle.
Oh, you'd put her in an emergency vehicle?
Yeah, why not?
Or
Or
you'd
you'd get something
evil though.
You'd get something that's like the car that you get for the high school kid, just like some really old Mercury.
Yeah, like a 1985 Oldsmobile that gets
Yeah,
about 6
exactly.
miles to a gallon.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that way they can't get too far.
Yeah, it can't be like the nice Porsche-looking car.
No.
Yeah.
What kind of car did you have first? You're from the East Coast. Did you have a pickup truck?
My sister and I split a Jeep, the one with the golf cart engine that, like, you go on the highway and you're afraid it's going to fall
like
apart.
a Cherokee or like a Wrangler?
No, like a Wrangler.
Oh, okay. Did you have to save up and split the cost, or was that like our parents are willing to pay to not have to ferry your asses around?
Our parents were basically like, let's get rid of these, because we both played sports pretty much full time on like 3 teams at a time. So it was, we do not want to
Right, hardcore
take
Dave.
you around.
It's pre-computer Dave.
That's right.
I bought a Ford pickup truck, a Ranger,
Oh,
for
yeah?
like $350.
That's
out of a
awesome.
fleet.
That's your first vehicle?
That was the first one I bought. I think my parents gave me the old station wagon for a little while, but that did not help me in social circles. It was brown, and it was the one year that Ford made a station wagon that didn't have a brand. It was just like a Ford station wagon.
Did it have wood on? No wood on
brown
the side?
with wood
Wow.
paneling.
Oh,
on the
that's
side.
Nice.
awesome.
But
That's cool.
not a cool not like a 70s style family truckster
Oh.
Brady Bunch wagon. It was like an 84 maybe. It
What was your
That's less
haircut
cool.
looking like?
I had a skater bowl with the shaved
Yeah.
up on the bottom.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you like have your Tony Hawk board in the back?
I did not. I was a wakeboarder, wakeboarder and snowboarder. Not. And I was I'm terrible at snowboarding.
And that was like around the invention of those, so it probably was as big as this room.
I was the first person on the lake that we grew up in that had a wake. Like my aunt sent me a wakeboard from California, and it was made of fiberglass, like a surfboard, so you couldn't sink it. So you had to learn how to lay on your back and do the twist.
Wow.
Nobody could do that. It was really hard. It's a difficult time. So, have you taught baby tricks?
You mean like performing seal tricks?
Yeah, basically.
Now I can get like certain actions out of her by singing.
She wave and stuff like that.
Yeah, she'll do the wave stuff. She's right now. It's all about this. It's just index
Pointing?
finger that's moving, and I just want to touch everything. And that's all she does is like we put up the Christmas tree and just wants to touch every ornament.
Did you leave real ornaments on?
What?
Like
Real
glass ornaments? We had to get
They're
all of our
ornaments.
glass ornaments are in the box.
Because you're worried about them.
We started thinking about the danger of hanging 80 glass ornaments off of a Christmas tree that were.
She's not mobile yet, so we'll probably be fine for.
I like your optimism.
It's Christmas is Christmas still.
Okay.
The bigger worry is more the dog. The dog eats them.
Oh, that's
Eats ornaments?
That's bad.
He's a dog. Like
Good point.
Like
Good point.
He will.
Yeah.
We learned to not do the low row of the Christmas tree has all like the cheap crappy ornaments.
Oh, okay. Well, Gina. So when we went through the we can't have glass ornaments thing because Gina has a boatload of glass ornaments that she's collected over the years. We went through fuck. Are we even gonna? Maybe we should become Jews or something. Move away from this whole thing. And then Gina was like, "Oh, I got it." She went into Target and came out with like $15 worth of gift tags, like the fancy ones that have the like, little stockings with
Sure.
glitter. So those are our ornaments this year.
Oh.
Chloe's learned a new trick. The dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while, if she thinks that the baby's not sleeping well, she just gets up, walks out of the living room, and goes straight in the bedroom and barks at the baby while she's sleeping.
Wow.
That's good.
It's the worst thing in the world.
What do you think's going on there in the dog's head?
I want to think that she's like, oh, her breathing is irregular. I should startle her and make her breathe better.
So it's a Lassie kind of
But I
rescue.
think she's just an asshole.
Right. Like trying to wake the baby
I
up
think
to
she's-
fuck with you.
But I mean, the baby is immune to the dog. Our dog barks enough that the baby was immune to dog barking in utero.
Or is she like barking at the baby because there's a baby in the house and she doesn't like the fact that so kind of like a fuck you bark?
She's the baby and the dog have reached detente, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like the dog was a little upset when the baby started being mobile. Like that kind of fucked her up because she was like, "Oh, I'm cool with this ugly bald puppy as long as she doesn't move." But then as soon as she started being mobile, she was a little perturbed because she would go, like the baby likes to lay in the dog spaces. So like by the kitchen door, she likes to lay there, and that was a little bit rough. But now the dog realized she can herd the baby. And she kind of just nudges her, follows her around, and licks her feet to get her to go in different directions.
I just remembered another baby trick. There's
Okay.
clicking, like
Oh, she does that?
She does that, which was like kind of awesome when she first started doing it, because you're like, oh, look at this. Watch this, Nicole. The baby will, do this little clicking thing. And like after you'd feed her, she'd like smack her lips.
Yeah.
Because she probably saw me being like, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And then so she started doing it. And now if you do it, she'll do it. And like this weird echo thing. But now it's kind of like, oh man, she better not keep that.
I'm
I'm waiting for her to crack her knuckles because I
Oh
crack
yeah,
my
you are a
knuckles
knuckle cracker.
quite a bit, and
People love that on the audio.
Oh yeah,
Get it in there.
so I'm just waiting for it to come. I can do a one hand.
Wow.
That is.
That's like Sly Stallone, isn't it?
That's a mutant
Yeah,
ability.
I didn't know that was
Holy
possible.
crap! I've never seen that.
I thought that was a
before.
Foley.
It's tough.
Um,
Many years, guys.
you
Many
gotta have
years.
some
It's-
mad
Put that on a
RSI.
resume right there.
Yeah,
one
shit.
hand crack.
Dave Snyder, web designer, one hand crack. So the Munchers does the she does a lot of tongue work. She's real into sticking her tongue out. I don't know if that's a normal baby thing
I
or
think
not.
that's normal.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
They discover it and realize it's fun to
Yeah.
play with. Yeah.
And it's out all the time pretty
She
much.
quit though. She had like a phase.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still 10 months in and still going strong.
We were trying to think
11.
the other day. Is the tongue roll thing? Is that genetic?
I
Is
think
that
it
one of
is.
those things? Like yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
I
can't,
don't
can't
even
roll
know
my
what that is.
R's.
Can you not roll? You can't.
I
Really?
can cheat.
All right.
Yeah, that's cheap.
Master race.
That master race. Yeah.
We also taught Gina taught her super baby. So if you say super baby,
Yeah.
she goes
Oh, that's
and
cute.
sticks her arms
Oh,
up. in
that's
the
a
air.
good trick.
It's great.
That must be born into American culture because we do the same
I think
thing.
it is.
We had the whole
Yes.
the whole
Do you
table
fly
during
her around
Thanksgiving.
then too?
Yep.
Oh, she
Pick her
loves
up
the
and fly
football
around?
with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
like just
Just put her
Yeah.
in somebody's face, come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
fly over the dog.
a
The
good
dog
move.
barks and growls. It's a pro move. Let's see what else. What else is going on? The sleeping we're not sleeping all the night, which every once in a while. Gina fed her pasta the other day at dinner, and that was just like boom, boom, went down. Woke up at 11 o'clock, slept 6 hours.
Pasta
Wow.
coma.
Yeah, full on. She was just totally carved out. But
Slip her some red wine too, and you'll be.
yeah, well, that's frowned upon. We just do Xanax. Yeah, for babies.
My wife's been making me feel guilty. She makes toys.
She's very crafty. Your wife.
So she's been making like all these. It's real funny watching her work. She'll make the little baby blocks and stuff. She'll sew them together and put all the different fabrics and stuff on it. She'll make them like crinkly and all that kind of stuff. But then she'll try and fix her previous toys. So she had these foam block things and had to get them rattly. But of course the rattles inside would dampen. So now she has decided that she is going to take like tin mint things.
Like an
throw them
Altoid
together.
mint?
Yeah. It's a weird obsession.
Wow, that's bananas.
That's happening at our house.
Do you have like plastic toys, or are you wood toy people?
She's mostly wood toy. I don't really care.
Okay.
I grew up in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
Give me something that's used to be made out of
phthalates.
dinosaurs. or
Yeah, all the
something back in
phthalates
the day.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, liquefied dinosaurs. That's what I want for toys. But it's been strange. We've definitely been nesting quite a bit. Like, I just bought a table saw.
Okay.
'Cause I was like,
You doing some
yeah,
carpentry?
Yeah, I'm
Cabinetry?
trying.
I built shelves last year.
I know you did. I saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, and
I
then
haven't-
you stopped.
I haven't done anything. I've designed a bunch of stuff, but I haven't built.
I just bought a bunch of tools. Don't tell me that.
It's a hard time to. It's a hard time. It's hard to get like that stuff that takes a couple hours in a contiguous chunk. And usually, if I have a couple of hours in a contiguous chunk, there's something else I should. Be
I'm worried
doing
about my
instead.
hands.
Yeah.
I'm worried about losing a finger.
Well, I had the same experience Tatum had when he went to take a class about like cabinetry, right? You go into the place and you look around and you're looking and you're like, wow, not one of these motherfuckers has a complete set of digits. And I'm like, if I can't, not typing would be really bad for me as a, even if I just took a chunk off, it would be frowned on. So I'm just very, very careful. I have a lot of
Yes.
fear with the
Me too.
bandsaw and the table saw
Yeah.
and the router and the drill and the radial arm saw and
We can do it about
Pretty much all of them.
those with the kid walking around.
tools.
Yeah.
You just put them on your belt, like part of the utility belt. You just put the baby as just another
hooked on the
tool.
side.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. So this is Jeff. You'll know this.
Yeah.
She's she seems like she's pretty good about learning stuff. Like she's already learned for a while. She learned not to grab my glasses. Like that was the first thing we tried to teach.
It's a good one
because the glass grabbing is pretty profoundly annoying when you're because I only have one pair of glasses. If she breaks these, I got real problems. At what point do they actually start learning? Like, because she doesn't touch the oven now. We've successfully taught her not to touch the oven.
That's a really great question because there's a while there where they can do things, but they have no logic, right? So even things like the stove, like I remember, teaching my daughter not to touch the stove because she could, and she would be mad when we wouldn't let her. Like it was an outrage. And we're like, we could let you touch it, and then you'll see. So like, you shouldn't be mad about this, but they just get angry because they're not getting their way,
and they don't have any.
They don't realize that like the last time they tried to touch this, or the last time they did touch this, it hurt like shit. So I think that it doesn't come fast enough.
We get that with the freezer. Like we have one of those bottom chest freezers, and she loves to grab the metal rails. And I just have this horrible nightmare of her sticking her tongue out, leaning into the freezer, and then
Christmas Story.
They will do.
Christmas Story.
My experience was that they will do it beyond the point at which you think they should have learned by now.
Yeah,
they'll do it at least one more time after that.
I watched this Werner Herzog documentary about guys living in Siberia. And they were talking about these guys. It was awesome. You should go watch it.
Yeah.
Is this with your baby?
She wasn't watching it, but the guy had a bunch of dogs, and he was talking about dogs that he was a trapper.
Okay.
Right? So he was like, how do you train the dogs not to go into the trap? And so he was like, most people, he's Russian, huge beard, and he's like, most people, they yell at the dog and they, teach it to be afraid of you, to be afraid of that. And he's like, the dog will not learn anything. When you go, the dog, and this is I don't even know what accent this is. This is just,
we're good.
Whatever it is, it's okay.
You can
and
go
so
back
he's
to it
like,
if you
and
want
then
to
he says this thing. He's like, what you do is you make a trap just for dogs, and you let them learn that way, and then they will stay away. And so now how this has been in my head. How can I make a trap just for babies?
Right.
To teach them these things. So then it's not like I'm giving them the order of like, don't touch that oven. How can I make an oven for babies?
You just electrify the oven just a little bit. So when she reaches out to grab it.
Yeah, you could do that
Gives
with
her
your
a
whole
little
house,
zap.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, electric shock.
Just shot ECT.
Oh, it's called Happy People. That's the name of the movie.
Really?
It was really good.
Were they happy?
It was basically about these people that live, they're self-sufficient. They're, building their own houses.
Pretty
and doing
appealing.
all that kind of stuff. And it was neat. It was weird that there were trappers still. Like that's a profession.
Yeah, that in this age.
Yeah.
That exists on this planet.
Fur coat's got to come from someplace, man.
And they were talking about how in communism, times they would get paid by the government to be trappers, and now they're, basically independent.
Just sell their wares.
Yeah, trappers.
Huh.
I would be useless in that society. I have no physical
No
ability.
video game reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they don't need a game review done, I'm fucked.
You could review the trappers.
guys!
You could be like, this is a 3 out of 10.
Guys, I increased the font size on your articles.
You could evaluate the pelts as they come in. This one's a 7.5. This one's an 8.1. This is a 7.7. You use the entire range of the scale from 7 to 8.
I worry about that, Well, I don't really worry unless we get to a post-apocalyptic society.
Yeah.
What would I actually be able to contribute to this world?
Do you have I've got a brother-in-law who's a doctor.
I have relatives.
I think that I could.
Right,
train.
sure, I have relatives.
But he's a neurologist. I think that's not a specialty we're going to need. We need like baby doctors and broken leg doctors in the
that's
apocalypse.
true.
Like nobody's worried about mental illness.
Well, maybe you could, if it's like a zombie apocalypse or something. Maybe it'd be like a neurological concern that he could solve.
Right.
Take him to the one research facility that remains.
Yeah.
The last bastion of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a pretty good gardener. I have seeds. I always have seeds.
That's
in the
good.
house.
That's a good one.
I figure if I have seeds, we'll only starve for 6 or 9 months. I can eat grass for 6 months. They did in the Middle Ages.
And you guys both can make things. Like I don't have tools.
Well,
this is the
but
problem
all
with
of
being
our tools-
Jewish.
our
Like we
tools
just
are
hire
powered.
people to do things.
But our tools are power tools. If there's no electricity, I'm fucked. I got nothing.
Right.
And I've got your
Yeah, you got my
your
big battery
generator
thing.
or whatever it is.
I can't even charge my cell phone.
That's right.
Yeah, it's.
I can't believe you own that.
Why would I not own that?
It's giant.
Did you not see all those people out after Sandy in New York with like 55 phones plugged into power strips out of the one house that had power?
I guess.
That's what that's for. That thing will keep my phone working for 2 weeks so I can keep texting my parents.
And now
tell
it's
them
just
I'm
sitting in
okay.
my garage, probably
Discharging.
uncharged.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for bringing that down.
But in
Mark.
I always
Theory.
forget it.
Me
You
too.
should say, yeah.
I was at your house and I forgot it.
Babies.
What holidays? Did your family come out?
They did.
Do you guys do big Thanksgiving? You're Italian. You do a big Thanksgiving.
Yeah, my mother's side's all Italian. We don't have as many of the Italians over here. My mother's side's a super large family, but we just had my sister and her husband, that kind of stuff. And then we immediately went into Christmas.
Like
I think
full on.
Yeah, buying a Christmas tree the next day.
Yeah, Gina
doing
does
all
that.
kind of crazy stuff.
We always were like Christmas tree on the 23rd, kind of
Yeah.
like right at the end. You'd wait until the last possible minute. Part of that's because of the Christmas tree farm heritage my family inherited. But part of it was just that we're kind of natural procrastinators. So, why do that early?
But it's fun. All that stuff is not fun when you, like, for the, years between being a child and a dad. All those things were kind of in the periphery and very boring.
This year is kind of this is the last trial year for
Right.
us. Because like next year,
She'll know.
she'll know, she may not remember, like it may not have, but yeah, that if we fuck that up real bad, it could be the first thing she remembers. I'm starting to think about that. Like the first thing I remember is when I stood up underneath the coffee table when I was a kid, I had to go get stitches in my forehead. And I remember the drape that they put over your face had a little puppy dog on the inside.
Wow.
Have you bought any gifts yet for your...
Yeah, but it's all, I mean, honestly, at this point, I could just get her a bunch of empty boxes with wrapping paper. She'd be super stoked.
There's still gifts for you guys, in a way.
Kind of. I mean, we're getting her like wood blocks and we're getting her stuff that's age appropriate 3 months from now. She's tiring of the toys that are the infant and like 6-month-old toys. So we're having to
Autobot.
remove some of those. Yeah, we need a robot nanny.
Robot nanny, EMT.
Yeah.
It's all combined into one.
Everything you need. Also bodyguard.
So what do you guys think you're going to do about Santa Claus?
In my family, we grew up with the live Santa Claus that showed up on Christmas at the house.
This is like a drunk uncle?
It was always a drunk uncle.
Oh,
It
wow.
was Uncle Roy, who was the uncle that be like, "Hey Dave, go, hey, give me one of them beers in the fridge there. What do you got?"
He at least
"Hey, I got
dressed like
shit
Santa,
beers
though, right?
here."
Meister
He
Brown.
dressed
What the
like-
hell is Meister Brown?
What kind of beer is this? Just like all these crazy Italian characters.
But did he dress like Santa at least?
He did dress like Santa, and the one year that I remember the best was that he was coming down. We had this hill. I grew up on the East Coast, so you had basements, and so
Yeah.
there was always, there was a hill that went down to this basement door where we all were, and of course, it's snowing. He slips, and just Santa's like, "Fuck," like just great, Uncle Roy. "Oh, I hope all these presents are all right,"
But did you know it was your uncle? Or
Yeah, I knew super early. I don't know. I mean, part of that, I think I always thought you wouldn't do any of that kind of stuff, and now all that stuff's kind of fun now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
Petaluma, Santa comes on a boat.
what?
Wow.
Yes.
That is
Up the bay?
That's
Yeah.
classy.
Yeah, my wife's like all about it. So we were out this weekend. She's like, he's coming at noon. We've got to
Motherfucker,
be there.
get out there.
And he comes on the river on a boat and
Wow.
then stops at the local.
Wow. Is it a full-on California experience? He's like wearing Ray-Bans. And
We
Carl's
actually
Jr. sunglasses.
luckily we missed that portion of it, but they did have the gender, the gender equity. There was a Miss clause there
wow.
that was as well.
A Ms. clause?
Mrs.
Mrs..
Mrs. Isn't
Okay.
it a Mrs.? They're married, aren't they?
Well,
They're married.
Traditionally they are,
Sure.
but who knows?
Or
here?
the elves aren't their children, right?
Because
No,
now
no,
there could be
elves are-
two
elves are
male
slaves.
Santas. There could be Santa's,
Yeah.
male partner.
Juan?
Yeah, Petaluma's too far north for,
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
Yeah, you
'Cause
guys
that
are
would
pretty
just be-
conservative up there.
Yeah.
It's meth country.
Mr. and Mr. Claus.
Right. It's meth claus. Santa's
Maybe that's going to be the
Santa's
movie,
methed out
all
brother.
right. Mr. and Mr. Claus. You know, sort of like a holiday, one of those. You know,
Schwarzenegger and DeVito get
there
back
you go.
together.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's some sort of trial.
Who wouldn't see that movie?
There's a short
I'd see that
separation,
movie.
and then everybody gets together at the end. It all ends
Exactly,
up
and everybody's happy.
happy. No, we haven't talked about Santa Claus yet. I mean, I just assumed that Santa Claus was a given.
You know, my wife is Protestant, so so we do Christmas and Hanukkah, and
Lucky kid.
She is
Yeah.
lucky, and so the Santa Claus was a real conundrum for me. Like we ended up going for it, so there was a Santa, and she believed for years and years that Santa Claus was real. But as she got older,
Spoilers, guys.
I started going like, man, this kind of sucks. Like every year as she's getting more intelligent, like we're lying. And the lies have to become a little more elaborate because she's like processing stuff better. Like, well, how does he get everywhere in one night? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, fuck. Like, do I lie again? Like, when do I come clean? And it feels weird because like you're actually literally lying to your child at some point who's now logical enough to realize that this can't possibly be.
So how old was she when you broke the news? Or did she figure it out?
I'm trying to remember. She figured it out because I was going along with it. And for me, it was kind of fun because I didn't grow up with Santa. So it was like a novelty for me to be on the other end.
But that also meant you didn't know the right lies to use,
well,
so that everybody would
she
sync up
knew,
with the play yard.
Well, of course, she also had like, I don't know if some of them were French or not because she like grew up there. So I don't know if I was like playing out French Christmas traditions. Anyway, so like we baked cookies. Like, is that an American thing? We
Yeah,
baked
you put cookies in
Okay,
milk
so
out.
we did that, and I wrote the note from Santa. Like thanks, Sarah.
Did you,
Whatever.
like, do it with your left hand or anything?
Well,
so
that's
she
the
wouldn't
thing.
recognize the handwriting?
That's how I got caught because she realized at one point it was my handwriting.
Oh.
And she called me on it. She confronted me. But I kind of panicked. And I was like, I have to get back to you with the answer. Like, I pleaded the fifth at that moment with my child. Like, I'm taking this question under advisement, Sarah, and going to consult with my lawyers. I talked to my wife. I was like, okay, she's called me on it. Like, do we perpetuate the lie now, or is this the moment at which we shatter her dreams?
Is it bad that I want to be like the Calvin and Hobbes dad that just uses it as an excuse for like improv sessions?
Oh my God, that stuff is so fun. No, you don't feel bad. That's the best. That's one of the highlights of dadhood.
Like explaining gravity or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why that's why that cartoon is just the best ever.
So I cornered my mom one day, like we were out and like working in the backyard mowing or something. I was like, Mom, I got to ask you a question. She tells this story a lot. I got to ask you a question. Some kids are saying some stuff, and I don't know whether to believe it or not. And this was in 12th grade. No, I was probably 4th grade. Thanks for laughing, though, guys.
I was believing it. Yeah, I could see him being that stupid.
Yeah, I'm a gullible kid. I take everything at face value. And she was like, well, what do you think? And, of course, my sister was standing right there who's 4 years younger than me. She's like, wait, what? What the hell's going on here? So, yeah, the second kid complicated the whole thing.
Right, because then you have to let the first kid in on it.
Yeah,
for the
you gotta
younger
get
second kid.
But it's still the
You're
8-year-old,
teaching them to
9-year-old
lie.
kid. Yeah.
Teaching them to lie. That's the problem with this thing. It's like, and then can the kid believe anything you say after that? And why should they? Well, that whole Santa Claus thing was bullshit.
Let's talk
so
about-
maybe this whole be at home by 8 is bullshit.
Right, we're going to have a frank conversation about sex now. Wait,
Right.
what? Having sex makes babies? That doesn't sound... Is this like Santa Claus again?
Exactly.
Autobot nanny saves all.
Yeah. And also the Autobot nanny is Santa. The other thing that's kind of bullshit about Santa Claus is that means that you load up the good gift and you don't get credit for it.
You're right. It's that
Right?
other dude who did it.
Right.
Right.
It's the
What did
magical
you
elf
give him? You
from
gave him a
Santa?
fucking
Yeah, did you
shirt.
not get the good gift from Santa? The good gift was always from Santa in our house. Like when I got a Nintendo, I guess I didn't get it. Anyway, whatever.
You're right, though. You kind of want the credit.
Mine
as the
was
parent.
from Uncle Roy.
Okay.
So it was both from Uncle Roy and Santa.
So Uncle Roy
Nintendo.
was Santa?
Uncle Roy gave all, and this is a big giant Italian family, every one of the
Nieces and nephews?
niece and nephews got a Nintendo in 1985.
Damn.
And there's no way that I can think of how it happened
Wow.
other than Uncle Roy is an Italian.
It must have fallen off the back of a truck, right?
Yeah.
They had a clearance on this hot Christmas item. Got it down at the waste treatment plant. Please don't hurt me, Uncle
Favorite
Roy.
uncle.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Amazing.
who? Of course he is.
I had to mow
Crazy
lawns
fun
for a
guy.
summer to get a Nintendo.
I think it's a rough thing.
Terrifying
the,
thought.
The lying thing. It's a
Yeah.
weird.
Well, the tooth fairy and all that. They like there's
The tooth fairy
there's
was
a
another
long
one,
history of
right.
lying to your child.
Right. We did the tooth fairy too.
So part of me wants to like not lie to the kid, but then a larger part of me loves looking at the sheer unadulterated wonder in her eye. Like when
Right.
we held off turning on the lights because we did the lights at night when she was asleep. We left them off the whole next day, and she was accustomed to the fact that there was this weird tree in the house. And then we flipped the lights on when it got dark, and she was like,
Yeah.
and
It's fun
Like,
letting them have
yeah.
that wonder,
Yeah.
But I'm sure that there's plenty of like new agey parents. I'm sure it must be a thing. Like if we Google it now, there's probably this
sure
whole
people will post
movement of like,
comments.
you don't lie to your children ever. Like Santa Claus, if I, who are just against all that stuff. We're going to teach our child to live in the real world. I'm sure I shouldn't sound so dismissive about it. It might be a good idea.
I spent my whole life trying not to live in the real world. Though.
Exactly,
the real world
me
sucks.
too. The real world sucks. Exactly. That's why you turn them on the TV earlier.
Right.
Like, I know our house sucks. Look at these people.
I want to teach my child consumerism with their presents and just have them come in regular cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Like plain with like UPS stickers on them, so that they can get excited
Amazon.
to adulthood.
Right,
It's
yeah,
just got
right.
the Amazon logo.
Like it has
on
a smile. This is
Yeah.
going to be something good, or maybe
And then give them the really big one and just leave like the note that's like it didn't come today. You can either show up by 5 or you can wait
Pick it
until
up
tomorrow.
right,
Like
right.
give them real life adult
Yeah.
choices.
Right.
or give them an enormous box that has another smaller box with some air bubbles, and then another smaller box
Yeah.
inside, and then like 2 AA batteries. Hey, this is being an adult, guys.
But the Amazon box is still exciting every
It
time.
is,
Even
all the
when you know
time.
what's in it.
I buy at this point. The shameful secret of my life is that we buy so much stuff from Amazon, like laundry, soap,
Sure.
and all like
We do that now too.
everything. I haven't gotten toilet paper. I did toilet paper once and then felt guilty about it because it came in a really huge box, and it's taken the joy out of it. Because as often as not, it's something that is
practical.
practical, like toothbrushes,
Right.
instead of something awesome like Blu-rays.
But don't you hope maybe you forgot, or maybe this
Oh,
is
the
a
gift
gift
from the future.
Some like pre-order that you bought
Right.
like 10 years ago.
Exactly. It's not the dog food. It's
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah, the gift from past you.
I don't know what you would do if it was actually Mario. Like Mario, I think would be a little creepy to have. Just
Well, I don't
like
mean
that.
actually
me.
the person
Yeah.
Mario in your house, the real life.
He'd just be
available.
like drinking a beer, like 2 in the
That might be
morning.
awkward.
Just opens up the fridge.
You were a
rather
lot
have
cooler when
Luigi.
you were inside video games.
Yeah.
It would be cooler to have Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi seems like the better guy to hang out with. He's affable.
He might be more of a nerd too. He might be more geek cred. When we were so one of the things my daughter also believed in was, or believed was real, was Winnie the Pooh. She was totally into Winnie the Pooh, and she thought there was a place on Earth where all those creatures were alive. Right.
Yeah, of course there is.
Right. So
Pooh Corner.
But in the books, this was
Pooh Corner?
The books
Pooh
were
Corner.
like Pooh Corner, right? So in the books, though, that was like the tales about. She understood that these were tales about them that weren't necessarily real, but that somewhere they were real. And when we went to Disneyland when she was about 3, I guess it was about 3, and they have a Pooh Corner there where they have the teenagers dressed up in all the Pooh costumes. She believed that was the real Pooh Corner. So when we were waiting in line to get our picture taken with whatever sad 16-year-old was inside the Winnie the Pooh costume.
Those children are professionally happy, Jeff.
I'm sure they are. Inside they're crying. She thought she was meeting the real Winnie the Pooh, and they took a photo, which of course we had to pay for. But it's one of my favorite photos of my daughter, like to this day, because the look on her face, like she really thought she was meeting Winnie the Pooh. She was so happy. Like I just loved that so much. Like even though part of me was like, oh, God, this seems sort of lame. Like I'm telling her that this is the real Winnie the Pooh. Like it's totally not Winnie the Pooh. I'm like fucking lying.
Oh my God!
But-
Another more lies.
Right, but she looked so happy. It was like such a cool moment for her meeting Winnie the Pooh. Like I let it happen.
I wonder if I thought when I went to Disney World the first time that I was meeting the real Mickey Mouse. You'd think you'd wise up because there's like 10 or 15 Mickey Mouses at any given time in the park, right?
Well, maybe they tour, or maybe he's just fast.
Could be
he's
fast.
super
He
fast.
costume changes.
You're good at these lies.
It's easy once you get started. It's a slippery slope. Just lying to your kid all the time.
So one of the challenges I've faced over the last few months is that my father has developed an affinity for texting.
Yeah.
This has led he likes group texting.
Does he have a smartphone?
Yeah, he has an iPhone.
My dad still has a flip phone.
It's probably for the best. Once he realized that texting he went from being strongly anti-texting to being strongly pro-texting when he realized that iMessage was free. And as a result, this has started a conversation with Gina and me about what we're going to be bad at as parents when our daughter is in her
Wow, he's
late
texting
30s.
like real life shit.
What?
He's having like whole conversations over text.
Oh, he signs text. He's love dad at the end of them sometimes. Like, you have 160 characters, man.
He's not figured out the text is just for, are you bringing a pizza home?
No. He also sends like email forwards from text. So he learned how to copy and paste so that he can send pictures that he gets from email into the text. And then he sends that out to like 20 people with a group text. It's real bad.
That's a little annoying.
It's super annoying.
Yeah. And no offense to your dad.
But no, that's the right answer. It's really profoundly rude, because then people are like unsubscribe,
Right.
and that ends up with this horrible reply all chain that
Oh,
you can't stop getting.
You know how to solve that?
Not use text.
Android.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's great. I mean, it is one of the nice side benefits is all of the family crazy chains, and they can only go one deep with me because.
But no, it still just goes to the phone number. Then everybody gets a text message
But it's
instead
all
of an iMessage.
Yeah, it's completely random. It's like they're getting them separately. It's nice.
Maybe.
I like it. I like it disjointed.
I
Makes
tell
me
'em
feel
that-
like I'm out of it.
I just tell him to take it offline. Don't do this over text.
Must have worked at EA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're in like a
Speaking
group
corporate
meeting.
speak. Yeah.
Let's-
Let's table this, Dad.
Let's have this conversation offline. Okay.
I never understood that.
What?
Either. The offline thing.
It's a
Have it
metaphor
offline.
for online. They're saying that the meeting is an online conveation, and that the offline is when
Right.
you're not with the other 15 people in the room.
Right.
It's weird.
This is why we're bad at meetings. Do you remember how many meetings we had at Whiskey? Like, all told? Maybe 3? Over the 2 years we were there?
Remember.
Yeah. I think 3.
It's all a blur.
Remember all those design meetings we had for the first design of
Well, it's
Tested?
really easy. There was a dictator.
Yeah. King Dave. Well, I guess that'll do it. I mean, I feel like you
Less people.
questions for future baby.
What for my future?
Yeah, from your future baby. I'm future baby for your baby.
I don't know. I'm still lost on when you said pro-texting, and I was thinking of how in the future there will be protesting that's just texting people.
We just assumed that it would be like the brain implant, and that I would not send the appropriate warning before you get into the brain implant. Like, I'll be like, just jump right in. She's like, Dad, I'm in the bathroom.
I still just want to make up stuff. That's all that I'm thinking of with the child.
Just to
It's
fuck
like-
with their head.
Yeah, I
Right.
think it'll be fun.
Think
Like
about
the-
like an alternate alphabet, if you really want to fuck them up.
Well, what was it the Penny Arcade guys did?
Alternate alphabet. That's great. Man,
What is that kid talking?
That's terrible. That is monstrous.
See, you could do it.
teach him
theory.
Klingon?
Well, yeah, one of the Penny Arcade guys, I remember years ago when he had a baby, was like, well, we just taught the baby Murloc noises along with like horses and giraffes and chickens.
Do you ever remember that old Monty Python routine where John Cleese comes in with he's a foreigner and he comes in with the fucked up dictionary,
No.
Like you could do that to your kid. Like he walks into a store like it's a cigar shop. Michael Palin's behind the counter and John Cleese has this English dictionary open from wherever he's supposed to be from, and he's going, my hovercraft is full of eels. That one. So you could totally do that to your kid.
There's some parent doing that too because they just want it for Instagram or like
Sure.
their
Yeah.
for YouTube. Like they're punking their kid like all day long.
We have a strict no baby exploitation policy.
Yeah.
We only post cute baby stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a future baby thing.
Okay.
But much later, because this happened recently. It's been building up, but now it's full on. The torch has passed.
Just to be clear, this is your 19-year-old.
My 19-year-old we're talking about. But I didn't know if this day would actually come, which is that she is now the tech expert. She is on the cutting edge over me. I was always the guy, always was the guy. And now, like over Thanksgiving, she was the one who showed me Snapchat, right? Because I'm aged out of Snapchat, as
Oh, yeah.
are you guys.
Yeah, we're
actually.
aged out of Snapchat,
right.
too.
But
She's
like,
just using it for porn,
I'd
dude.
only
I'm
heard of it. Well, I don't want to know what she's using it for. But
That's
like,
what Snapchat's for.
But it did make me realize, wow, she's more on it than I am now. Like she knew what Reddit was before me, all these things. And she knew what Facebook was before any of us in this room. Like she was over Facebook like a few years ago.
Before EA bought the Facebook game company.
Playfish, right?
Flipplefish is a great name for a fake
Flipplefish?
game company.
Fake game company?
Yeah, Flipplefish.
We should launch that
We
right
should
now.
launch
They
that.
get they
I'm gonna
get
register that
they
before
get all the
before I
best
post this.
reviews from rival video game website.
That's a great site. I love that. GameBomb.ru loves them. The baby taught me something this morning.
Really?
Yes. If you hold down the star button in Tweetbot, which she
Yeah.
discovered while she was using my iPad, just mashing it, there's a tweet of the day feature.
Oh,
if you
shit.
hold down the star feature and thing. I don't know what it does. I haven't tried it yet, but she discovered that, and then I had to go look it up because I was like, oh.
It's happening already.
Yeah, I'm
You're going to
doomed.
be replaced.
The good news for you is that makes you James Bond instead of Q now. So congratulations.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
Previously you were Q. You've
I
been
was
promoted.
Q. Yeah.
That'll be the weird thing, though, because those skills passing from you, I'd at least assume some of that came from being around you.
Oh, absolutely.
At an early age. So I'm wondering, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
will programming or something like that.
Well, you
come
told-
into
Well,
play?
my daughter's a CS major.
I did
so there
say,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah, you told me about the kids, the lunatics who teach their kids Unix before they let them use GUIs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're specifically in terminal.
Right.
I actually wish we had started earlier with her. Like that, I feel is a mistake. And she, in fact, I think it's a mistake because she told us it was a mistake.
So when did you start, though?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. She really has just picked this up since college, and I don't know.
a year.
Yeah, and I don't
Okay.
know if it's because she's a girl. Like, I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that if she was a boy, we would have pushed her that way. I want to think I'm not that kind of person, but it might be true. And maybe when I try to look back on it, it's like, well, were they really pushing like girls to be computer science majors and engineers back
Yeah.
in the 90s? They
When I was
probably
in college, they
were.
were.
But like both my wife and I are liberal arts people, so that was sort of our bias. So that was maybe our own fault, even though she had a strong affinity for math and science all on her own. But she got to Columbia and she took an intro to computer science class and she frickin' loved it. And she was tech savvy to start with, but of course, this is a whole different thing than just being tech savvy, obviously.
Yeah.
But she's in love with it now and she's about to declare it. And she said to us, like, well, you know, there's other people here, Dad, in these classes who have like been doing this shit since like, you know, programming camp when they were 8. Like, why didn't you do that for me? I was like, I don't know. Like, I probably should have.
Yeah, but that stuff doesn't, like, I never did any of that kind of stuff.
No?
All my stuff came from the same background that your daughter probably had, which is video games.
Right.
So, like, mine was
Right.
just screwing around with video games. I'm sure
Yeah.
she was screwing around with, like, WoW GUIs
She was.
before.
She was.
Yeah.
Right. She was modding her whole
Yeah.
interface and showed me how to do it when
Yeah.
she was 12.
And in that way, like, they're already ahead.
So-
Yeah, you're right.
Well, but that's the thing. Part of me looks at like having phones and tablets and stuff around all the time, and like the 9-month-old or 10-month-old is totally capable of pawing around the interface and making it scroll and stuff like that.
Right.
But I worry that like the way you and I learn computers is more or less the same. We learned about computers by trying to get Quake and Doom and stuff like that to run
Yeah.
on machines that probably shouldn't have run those games.
King's Quest 6.
Yeah, like I learned how to M1 A1 tank platoon. Like getting that run on an XT, that took some real work. And like because those systems were totally open and required a lot of futzing with, that's how I learned how to make Windows work, and that event ended up with me doing what I do today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the kids today will have the same stuff because shit just works.
Like,
the
there's
mere-
always something to
There's always
fool
new
around
stuff.
with.
Yeah, maybe
There's always some.
it's all nicely
customization
sandboxed
or-
though.
Yeah, but the things that they have now that are greater intros, like you said, it was a lot harder for us. The great thing that kids have now is they've got creation tools, like they've got
Yeah,
Minecraft.
right.
That's true.
They've got all
Yeah.
these things that like lead to them being more kind of creative in those things than we had. Ours was more blood and guts, I feel.
Yeah, that's like the skill of knowing how to make a DOS boot disk so that TIE Fighter will
Oh my
run
God.
and a different one that launches straight into Doom.
Oh, holy
not
crap.
not particularly useful these days, I guess.
All the sound card shit. you
Yeah,
have to learn.
IRQ settings.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, you won't even have, like the new Mac stuff, you can't even really tear them apart.
Yeah, they're
You can't
closed.
repair them. So that stuff will all die, but it'll get filled in with new. It'll just move more towards weird software.
Everything
It was
It's
such a
software
source of
problem.
pride. DOS.
Yeah.
Knowing DOS. All
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I could.
And now
I
who
could
cares?
pull memory and put it in a different machine. I don't know. I'm interested to see how. I don't know when we're going to start introducing technology and stuff like that. But I hope that she's into that stuff and doesn't rebel against it.
You kind of can't not be into it now. It's like taking over all our lives.
Well, what was it? Somebody said I had a kid that was like, "Hey, how did you get the picture on paper?"
That was me.
That was you, yeah.
Well, that was Dana, our friend.
Yeah,
Dana, whose 5-year-old said that. Yeah,
that's
in total
bananas.
wonderment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that. Full circle.
Yeah.
And on that note, I guess we're out. That'll do it this time. We should do another one maybe after holiday stuff. I know Vinny is locked down right now doing Giant Bomb stuff.
Those guys are so hardcore; they never stop working.
They don't ever stop working.
Slave drivers.
And Gary's making movies or something. So maybe we'll
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know. He said he had Hollywood business to. He didn't actually say Hollywood business, but it was implied.
He's playing video games at home.
Yeah, he's got two new. He went through such a high level of enthusiasm about those new consoles. He had the hardest swing I've ever seen on a video game console launch with the PS4 and the Xbox.
He's all over the place though with that because he's
Yeah.
so early.
Oh yeah.
Is he having a come down? Do you think?
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
There's 2 games on those platforms worth playing, and they're all available on PC except for maybe Dead Rising.
I absolutely do not regret waiting.
Good choice.
And I
too.
cleaned up on Black Friday with the current gen. I mean, the now past gen.
All the stuff,
I'm feeling good.
all those old games.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
stuff I didn't play.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, we'll be back next Thursday with another regular edition of This Is Only a Test. Thanks for coming by for a bunch of dads, guys. Anything you guys
Thank
want
you,
to plug?
sir.
Twitter, Enemy Kite is Dave. Twitter,
Just
Greenspeak
just
is
myself.
Jeff.
Just
Yeah.
keep being Dave.
If you want to know more about Dave Snyder, you can Google Hardcore Dave or find your musings on.
I will tell
Enemy
you,
Kite.
I've had the fun bit of because my Google search against my name is so interesting for a stranger. It is.
Interesting.
It is a mess.
So if you just type
Like,
Dave Snyder,
Do you come up first?
Oh yeah, yeah. Over Weatherman Dave. It's
wow.
bad, and I think it's really one of those things where Whiskey Media could have completely destroyed any sort of job prospect I could have. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
the 2 choices. The 2 large images are
God.
Hardcore Dave or Naked Dave.
yeah.
So
I'm not going to zoom down.
So imagine sending an email to somebody that's like, yeah, no, I'm a web designer. I built these, websites,
And then they Google you.
and then they Google me,
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's rough,
and then there
man.
I am.
I don't have that problem. It turns out
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much harder to find me.
yeah.
I mean, Twitter makes it a little bit easier,
Yeah.
but do you worry about your kid coming back and Googling this stuff at some point in the future? Because we've done a lot of stupid
No,
shit
I've
on
always
video.
been but everything I've always done has been. It's kind of like I think of like Paul McCartney answering questions about the Beatles. Where he's like, everything we did was about love, blah blah blah. Like, it all came from a good place. We always had fun.
Right.
We were never too mean. Like, I
We
don't
were
know.
we were never mean.
It was fun.
It was in good heart. Yeah, good heart.
I don't think we ever did anything.
the only bad
goofy
things we
bad.
did were drinking related, and that only scares me for like a 4-year period when alcohol is cooler than it should be.
You'll
for
find
kids.
that, yeah, when I
The
played
GT5
Gran Turismo and drank a lot of tequila.
poured tequila.
I think
in
it's
my
more,
milk,
is there
you
anything that
asshole.
would embarrass you?
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't feel much embarrassment.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It'll more. You've got the best. Thing for that. Hopefully, it'll be the same thing where it'll be like, oh, cool dad. Like all the friends will come
That's-
around and be like, oh, your dad's the one who.
I want to be hard ass dad.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of being
When
cool
they're playing like hologram games, they'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, you were the guy that really liked the Infinity Engine games.
We'll be the guys with the VR goggles going, man, this holodeck shit is bullshit. Put on your goggles like a man. Get in that Euro Truck Sim 5. Okay. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.